Hey everyone, welcome to another edition of Recapping the Past, the How I Met Your Mother edition. As usual, I am Punchy and joined by Big Fudge Ben Rayner. How you doing?
Good. I wouldn't take that nickname at all. Gladly accepted.
Damn rights. Damn rights. And if you ever have a little one running around, you be little baby Fudge.
There you go.
And so, yes, so again, we're on our way, almost done How I Met Your Mother, sadly, which very disappointing because it's a great show. So this week we have season number 7, which probably has one of the more iconic props in the show, I would say.
Yeah.
I'd say it's probably the most. I mean, to hell, it was featured. It was the 7th season DVD is called the Ducky Tie edition.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely, I would agree with that. Absolutely.
Yep. Yeah, so there was a lot of great moments, and this season continued Barney's emotional growth.
Yeah, I think it continued up until the finale.
Yeah, for sure. He never stopped growing. Yeah, he may have regressed a little bit, but he never stopped growing up.
Right. It only took him the first 6 seasons to begin, but yeah.
Well, I'd say more for the first 40 years of his life. Yeah.
No matter how you want to look at it.
Semantics. That's all that is. It's semantics. Yeah. All right. So should we just hop right into it? Because I mean, that's kind of realize what our format is. We do our top 5, and that's where the discussion comes from. Is through that. So let's just hop right into it. You're number 5.
In my good month, I'm not sure the musicians for 1 and 2.
Yep. Punt.
Okay.
So my number 5 is Ducky Tie.
Go ahead.
It's not on your list.
No, not on my list.
Okay, so this is the episode, as the title, puts right on the nose, is the episode where the infamous Ducky Tie is introduced. So the 5 friends are having dinner at Shinjitsu, a Japanese teppanyaki. It's basically a restaurant where you sit there and the hibachi chef cooks it in front of you, and they do their show while they're doing it. I've always wanted to go to one. I've never been.
Oh, you've never been to like a mini hot dog?
No. So here's something really shitty. So I moved down to Vancouver a good 2 years after most of my friends. They did all that before I moved down. I moved down there. Hey, let's do all this shit. Nah. I missed out so much because of those fuckers.
If you ever come down to visit me, we'll go to a mini hot dog.
I will hold that to you. I want to drink out of those big Buddha cups. I have never forgiven my friends for a lot of that shit because they got to do all the stuff I wanted to do before I moved down, and they refused to do it after.
And then they're shitting because they should have taken you.
They're jerks. Hey, dude, trying to get them to do the 2010 Olympics was like trying to pull teeth with a freaking pair of paper clips. It was tough. Just trying to get them to go anywhere. So I just said, fuck it. Screw you guys. Anyways, enough of that. Enough of my emotional hardships. It's Marshall's favorite restaurant while Barney hates it there. 2 topics of conversations emerge from the evening. The first is if Barney can perform a prescribed series of teppanyaki chef moves, which ends up being a bet between Barney and Marshall/Lily. If Barney wins the bet, he can touch Lily's now emerged ample pregnancy breasts. That is literally what it says on IMDb. If Barney loses the bet, he has to wear Marshall's rubber ducky emblazoned tie for 1 year, the tie which he thinks is hideous. After they make the bet, Marshall and Lily have to figure out if Barney is hustling them, as it begins to look like Barney maneuvered their way to the restaurant without initially looking like he did, since Barney winning the bet could perhaps be their worst nightmare. The second is Ted's recent encounter with ex-girlfriend Victoria, who was the dessert caterer at the architect's ball. Their meeting ignited old feelings between the two, some good and some bad. Thoughts on this episode?
It's good. I really like this episode. Although we see Victoria, how do I put this? We get more. We're not loving Victoria after this episode, but we hear clips of why I don't like her as much as I like other of his acting.
And explain that. Why don't you like her? I know you've already told me, but for our two people watching Kenosha, why don't you like her as much?
When it all comes down to it, I don't know how this, but I don't like her finally crashing cat during her last episode. It reminds me so much of Emily's last crashing once and Friends.
And you know
Yeah,
what? I'm actually on the opposite side of this. I do not think it is unreasonable for her to ask it. I really don't. I think it is well earned, actually, because think about it. Robin is the reason why they broke up in the first place.
yeah,
Because what happened? Ted lied and tried to sleep with Robin.
but at the same time, we found out in this episode, she was already going to break up with him anyway.
Fair, but was she?
Yeah,
She didn't try to sleep with Klaus till after they broke up.
But there was already a crowd. There was already a crowd. And her crowd was like Kenny Robin.
The only reason I'm opposed is because, yes, everything you said is true. There already was a Klaus, but because we don't know what happened on that end, Ted still comes out as the worst because he tried to ignite something with Robin while they were still together. We don't know what if that happened with Victoria or not.
You know what? That's a fair point. But not counter that. And okay, right now, they don't have like his name. We will end up with, if you're to fight them out, that's fine.
Yeah.
But anyway, now it's 7 years ago. I don't know that. I mean, I look at it as Ted and Robin's past. Robin or the past. I don't know. I didn't like Robin's past. I'm sorry.
I understand. I do 100% understand why you don't like her, and they are all valid reasons. I'm just saying her reasons for doing what she did are 100% understandable.
I get that. I mean, that's why I don't like her as much as his other ex-girlfriend, in my opinion.
And what's funny is you might be in the minority on that because she was voted Ted's best girlfriend.
I know.
Don't sound so disappointed.
It's another hot take I have. I have a lot of hot takes.
It's not a hot take. It's your opinion. Okay. It's your opinion, man.
Any more about this episode?
No, other than it is very funny that they had, because again, Barney's revealing all these things. You don't really know if he really did try to con them or not. And just because Lily doesn't want to risk it, she ends up flashing him just as he's about to do the last interesting trick. And of course, after that, we get half the season of Barney wearing the ducky tie and trying to get rid of it.
And how he gets rid of it might be on my list very soon. Okay. What did I want to say? One of my favorite parts of this episode was him training Marshall by
sneezing. By sneezing, yep.
Yeah.
That Barney is such a fucking conniving bitch.
What?
Barney is such a conniving bitch sometimes.
He is so evil and he is such a sociopath.
Oh, yeah.
You get that much, you love him.
The dude has the patience of a saint sometimes when it comes to it. Okay.
Yeah.
I was gonna say, what's your number 4?
The assassin inverted.
Sorry, the what?
The assassin inverted.
On my honorable mentions.
No, and forgive me, I think it is also the episode where he ends his legendary time.
I think so, yeah.
Because the whole episode he's trying to get out of it.
Yeah.
Because he's meeting Noah's parents the next day.
Yeah, that is right, yeah. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, he's trying to get out of it, and then they're all telling all their stories, yeah. But that's not the big thing about the episode, though.
no, okay. There's an assassin coming out. The king, no. How do I describe this? There's a sign on the clearance that there's no conversation in the restaurant or in the restaurant.
Sorry.
Again,
Say that last part again.
what is that sign saying there's no conversation used outside the restaurant, right? Not conversation.
Hold on, I got it right here. Boogie boarding.
There's no boogie boarding outside the restaurant.
Yeah.
So the whole episode that came trying to explain why that is. We have flashbacks, and the flashbacks go. The king, there's a storm coming out of the king. Ted's trying to get the king to leave town.
Mm-hmm.
And the king slowly, help me out here. I'm drawing
Okay. So I'm going to do that's a really long one. I'm going to do the short one. Basically, a question by Kevin about the origins of a no boogie boarding sign outside McLaren's. Matt makes the gang reminisce about Hurricane Irene, which hit New York in the summer of 2011 and was the impetus to the incident that prompted the sign to be erected. Safety-conscious Ted wanted to leave the city before the approaching hurricane. While Barney, Lily, and Robin thought that Ted was overreacting, Marshall, who was between jobs and had just lost his medical insurance until his new job started in 2 weeks, was suffering from hypochondria and wanted to leave. But telephone calls from various parents, news of the strength of the hurricane as it got closer and closer to New York, and interpersonal relationships between the five at the same time made them continually change their individual minds about whether to go or stay. Meanwhile, Barney is at the point of doing anything to get out of wearing the ducky tie and thinks he has a way to convince Marshall to let him off. As Marshall ponders Barney's deal, Kevin adds his therapist 2 cents. Now, the thing is, during the flashbacks, during Hurricane Irene, Lily needed some time to herself, so Marshall drew a bath, and that ended up being the night they conceived Marvin. So, flash forward, as a favor for helping them... they let Barney off the hook and tell him he could remove the ducky tie for 3 more slaps. To which Barney agrees, and Marshall lands 2.
Okay. Since you're the resident Canadian here, I have to ask. Robin regarding to this little storm, how accurate is that?
Fucking horribly inaccurate. Now, I will say there are people here that do, like, when it's snowing and stuff, and myself included when I was a teenager, would wear t-shirts and occasionally shorts when in the snow. I've done it. I've fucking skied down a diamond run in a t-shirt before and slid down it on my back. So it's incredibly exaggerated. We're like everybody else. If it's raining, we're fucking all bundled up. That's an exaggeration for sure.
Okay, good to know.
Yeah.
And we should also comment on this episode. Barney tricks Robin by, does he call him pretending to be her dad, or what?
Yeah, he pretends to be her dad, yeah.
Yeah. And he gets upset, and then the end of the episode, her dad actually calls her.
Yeah, it's like, right? Summer weather. But of course...
And you should also comment that at the end of the episode, Barney and Robin are in the cab.
I was just about to get to that. So at the very end of the episode, they decide to go their own separate ways. Robin and Barney share a cab, and then unfortunately, passion arises, and they they sleep together.
Right. And yeah. I really like this episode. And it's not long as kind of goofy, but it ends with an emotional heartbeat. Which, in a way, perfectly sums up the entire series.
Mm. Yeah, it's... I want to say is the unofficial start to the rekindling of Barney and Robin's romance.
Yeah. Well, how long is this last?
Well, pretty much for the rest of the series, they're just like ships missing each other in the night for the next season in a bit.
Timing.
Right, the whole series is about timing. Now, my number 4 is the next episode. Tick, tick, tick.
What happened?
Okay. What's your number 3?
Trilogy time.
Not even on my either list.
Dude, really?
Yeah. You got to remember, this is at the point of the show where all the episodes I like are the highly emotional ones.
Okay.
Not saying Trilogy Time isn't a good episode. It's just not what gets to me from season 6 onwards.
I like the episode. The episode basically, we have flashbacks and flash forwards. Show the 3 guys watching the Star Wars trilogy.
Mm-hmm.
And how their life evolves and what they thought their lives would evolve into. It's a really good episode. What are your thoughts on it?
So yeah, it was fun to see these people at different points of their lives, and just to bring up old things that have happened. But also, it's interesting the flash forwards that are interesting. Now, here's something: think about when they're in 2015 with Barney and the kid, or is it Barney?
You mean
anyways, in the 2015 flash forward, Barney's left ring finger is hidden.
You mean 10?
Barney's. You never see Barney's ring finger and ring hand at all during those flash forwards. That's how they had that. They had that whole divorce thing planned that far back, even further probably.
Oh wow!
Yeah, and then there was a gaff. Ted was wearing a wedding ring in the same flashback, but at the end of the series, we find out that him and Tracy didn't actually marry till 2019. Sorry.
Oh no! Fun note: the first time you see Ted's future daughter.
It's the first time, yeah, and that's how we find out that Penny's the older. Yeah. As the first girl to be a trilogy time that Barney didn't say, and you'll never see her again.
Yeah. Wait. Oh, well, okay. I heard say my favorite part of this episode is at the beginning of it. We see this guy staring out of his apartment, looking at Barney each and every night.
That's right. That is this episode. Yeah.
More and more the same. And all you see is Barney step out, a smile, and then step in, and then a smirk.
He's losing his wife over this, folks.
I'm sorry?
He ends up losing his wife over this.
And what is Barney doing? Passing out.
Yeah. And what does he find out after he accidentally passes gas in front of Quinn and tells her, I've just been using the balcony. He's like, the balcony, of course. Yeah. Poor Sap.
Oh my God. What are you doing? What are you doing? Okay, what's your number 3, Matt?
It is the season premiere, The Best Man.
No, not on my list.
Really? Okay.
Right.
So in The Best Man, it's moments before it's moments before Barney's wedding. He's got the jitters over whether he picked the right woman for his bride, and as a result, whether the wedding will be a disaster. Ted and Barney reminisce about Ted's friend Punchy's recent wedding, which they declare was the worst wedding ever. There were several possible lead-ups to the disaster of Punchy's wedding. One possible cause might have been Ted feeling insecure both about his non-married status compared to all his high school friends in attendance, and them waiting for the screw-up that was supposed to be Ted's toast. His past toasts were now legendary because of video posts by Punchy on the internet. Another possible cause of the disaster might have been Barney trying to test his pickup plays on unsuspecting women at the reception while he lied about a series of telephone calls he made. And yet another possible cause might have been what Robin decided about telling or not telling Barney, that she still had feelings for him. But Ted admits the disaster was Marshall's doing. Lily had just learned that she was pregnant. Lily didn't want them to tell anybody until she reached the end of her first trimester. But as such, she made Marshall drink all her drinks that evening. An extremely drunk Marshall was apt to do anything to cause a disaster, but perhaps it was an innocent, misinterpreted finger point that caused the mess. So basically, the revelation of somebody being pregnant was the cause of the disaster, but it wasn't Marshall and Lily. It was Punchy and his wife, that were hiding the pregnancy. And this is also the episode where they tell the gang that we're going to have a baby. And poor Marshall's just standing there like, the best part has to be the Robin and Barney dance.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was so cool.
I mean, you have to give it up to them. Every meal they have, even if it's small, it's good. It's still good, right?
Oh yeah, for sure. None of the season premieres has been disappointing so far.
And one thing I don't get is, okay, they were getting married anyway. Why would it be a big deal if Punchy's fiance was pregnant?
Because her dad hates Punchy.
Well, they were already getting married.
Doesn't matter, man. As someone who can attest to seeing this in my own personal family, those things do not go away.
Mm-hmm.
Trust me, it probably happens more than you think.
Okay, that's fair. And on another note, how bad of a friend is Punchy? So, working that thing on the internet, they like keep hitting Ted and like keep.
Are you telling me you've never done things to torture your friends?
Well, maybe I have.
Like I've done stuff, but nowhere near to that degree, to the point where a rival video becomes a hit in Sweden, and they come to the wedding, which was pretty funny. But I mean, I used to do things to torture my friends when I was, granted, when I was like 19. I wouldn't do them now.
Okay, but you're not 19 anymore. Yeah.
Oh yeah, that's me though. I wouldn't conceive doing that. But yeah, that's kind of a douchey thing to do to Ted. But in a way, if you think about it, that is their relationship. Because what do they do whenever they get back together? They revert to their high school selves.
Okay, fair point.
But yeah, it was pretty dickish. But hey, at least it gave us a really good dubstep remix of Ted's speech. But yeah, for me, the two highlights of this episode are hands down Robin and Barney doing their dance, and Lily and Marshall telling the group that they're having a baby.
Oh yeah, I agree.
Yeah. Okay, so you're number 2.
Tick.
All right.
Go ahead. You want to talk about it? I'll let you do.
Okay, let me get the thing right up. So Tick, Tick, Tick is the episode after disaster averted, and after Robin and Barney have slept together. Now this is heartbreaking, this episode. So in the Jesus, that's a long fucking thing. Okay, sorry. No. I'm gonna read the summarize. I was just reading the spoiler one. I was like, holy shit. In the sober light of day, after Robin and Barney's romantic liaison, they have to decide if the night together meant anything beyond a roll in the sack. Regardless, they have to decide what to do about it with regard to their respective relationships with Nora and Kevin. Things are made more difficult when the four are supposed to be attending a social work function on a harbor cruise, which means that they are captive together for the evening. Barney and Robin know that they have to be on the same page about what to do, but they may be easier said than done. Meanwhile, Ted has bought tickets to a Groovapalooza concert for himself, Marshall, and Lily. As is their regular concert routine, Ted also buys some weed for them to smoke at the concert. However, pregnant Lily doesn't think that neither she or Marshall should get high interstate. When Marshall can't resist, he and Ted go on a stone journey of discovery through the arena in search of some nachos for hungry Lily. their journey isn't quite what they imagine. So when it comes to that sense, they're literally so stoned, they're pretty much walking around the same like 10-foot diameter in the thing, but meanwhile they're thinking they're walking around the entire arena. And they even like at the very end of the episode, they show what really happened, and it's pretty hysterical. But the main crux of this episode is the Ace story, which is the aftermath of Robin and Barney sleeping together. And should we tell them? Should we break up with them? And they do agree at the very end of this to that, you know what, maybe we should tell them and see where this goes. So Barney and Nora are at her place, and surprise, surprise, her parents are there. But Barney actually does the right thing in this instance, and he tells Nora, and they break up. Robin and Kevin. Kevin ends up slipping. It's falling at the party, gets concussion. They're at the hospital. She can't bring himself to tell. So earlier, Robin and Barney had made the agreement. Let's do what we have to do, and we will meet at the bar and discuss. So Barney's there. You can tell he's upset. The friends ask him what's going on. He says, Nora and I broke up, but I think everything's going to be okay. In walks Robin and Kevin. And this is the moment where time slows down for Barney, because he's like, he looks at her and it's like, what happened? And she's shakes her head at Barney as no. And then you can tell he's broken. Everyone's sitting at the table. He's like, you know what? I gotta go. I got somewhere else I gotta be. And he leaves heartbroken. And that thing that he stopped hanging around with the group for a little while after that, which I understand. But yeah, it's just that moment where time slows down for Barney. It was like, holy shit. He broke up with someone he cared about very deeply to be with somebody he loved, and she at that time did not feel the same way, apparently.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah. Tick, tick, tick.
It might not be you, but I also thought that this other part of the episode was in this episode. It didn't fit. It's great and funny.
It's a good, you know what? It's a good balance. It's a good balance to the seriousness of the Ace story, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Because that's some pretty heavy shit. Like, you cheated on your significant others. What do we do now? Okay, you know what? There might be something here. Let's see where this goes. And then on the other hand, you got two dumbasses trying to find the nachos. Like, it's a good counterbalance.
I don't love that Ted and Marshall thought it was like 20 minutes. But it was like, what, 25 seconds or something?
I think they'd only missed one song. And then after all that, they're sitting down, they're watching concerts, like, we're freaking out, we should go.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it basically was them. They needed this because I guess Ted had felt that he was losing Marshall, so they needed this.
Yeah. What new number two?
The Magician's Code.
Oh, okay.
Part 1 and 2. So part 1, it's interesting. Anyways, so part 1 is Marshall is feeling, all pent up and shit like that. So Lily gets Barney to take him on a surprise getaway to Atlantic City, where it's like, you know what? Take the weekend, get drunk, shit off your ass. I'll call you if anything happens. So Barney convinces Marshall to turn his phone off for 1 hour and have all the fun. What happens during that hour? Lily goes into labor.
Of
course. Yeah, so the first part is their journey trying to get back from Atlantic City to New York for the birth of Marvin. And Barney, I can't remember how, but he convinces Marshall to name his son, and they actually did this. Marvin, wait for it, Erickson, because everybody thought it was a cool middle name, and I have to agree, it is.
I have to agree, it is too.
Yeah, so that's the first part. So yeah, Lily goes in labor and Marshall is nowhere in sight. As Lily is feeling the physical pain associated with the contractions, she requires the assistance of Ted and Robin to keep her mind on other things by telling her stories of their past, whether she's heard the stories before or not. One of the longer but simpler stories involves the mysterious door at McLaren's, which one by one each walks through to experience the wonder on the other side. But as she makes it into the delivery room about to give birth, Marshall is still nowhere to be seen. Although someone in her life is there, he who she may not want to see at this specific time. Meanwhile, a drunk Marshall is stranded in Atlantic City with Barney. They try one tactic after another to make their way back to New York City. Most of those tactics surrounding the motorcycle to be won through one of the slot machines. As they eventually do manage to secure transportation, their ultimate destination is outside of their control. But if Barney can manage to get Marshall to the hospital in time, his payment is to be able to give the baby his middle name. So that's the first part, just all the shenanigans involving the birth of the baby.
Can I, before you continue,
of course,
can I just say my favorite mini story is Mysterious Note and McLaren?
Yeah, because basically the button at the end of the episode is Marshall finally gets the courage to go through the door, and he opens it, and everyone's there and goes, boo!
Yeah, I don't know why, but even though it's not true, it feels like Marshall drinks from the underwood tank a lot. But there is something so satisfying about the tank drinking of Marshall. I don't know why that is.
Because out of all of them, he's the most naive.
Yeah, I think that's it.
Yeah. I mean, he by this point he's lived in New York for a long time, but he will always be the guy who thinks Nessie and the Bigfoot are real and believes in UFOs and all these things. He's the most naive of the bunch. Okay, now part 2. As Lily and Marshall become a threesome with the arrival into the world of Marvin, wait for it, Erickson, Ted, Robin, and Barney review the status of their lives at this present time. Ted and Robin come to an understanding about their relationship. Robin believes that Ted has always chased after the wrong girl, with the exception of one, who she encourages Ted to go after. But Ted will have to make one further decision based on the status of that woman's own life at this time. And Barney is afraid that running away to Atlantic City has led to the end of his and Quinn's relationship. Their relationship is able to survive this incident, so much so that they decide to take their first vacation together to Hawaii. But they have some problems getting through airport security because of the magician's box Barney has in his carry-on, the secret to which he refuses to divulge except to a fellow magician. The secret of the magician's box will lead indirectly to Barney's life with who will become his wife. Basically, the magician's box was a wedding ring, and he was going to propose to Quinn.
Can you comment? Can you make a quick comment on who?
Of course, yes. Ted Alonso. From Max from Saved by the Bell. Played the Max. Now, I do forget that it's him sometimes because he doesn't look like Max as you think of him.
Right.
But yeah, so he's definitely in there. No, overall...
He never looked more like Max in Saved by the Bell, the reboot that he did in this episode.
Yeah. So basically, Ted contacts Victoria to meet her at the bar for a drink. She shows up in her wedding dress because it is her wedding day. She runs out on the wedding. It's Ted, having been through that, he's like telling her, look, you can't do this. So he tries to take her back to the wedding. She convinces him that, you know what, we should ride off in the sunset. So he agrees to leave a letter in her room. Forgets his keys up there. There's a whole bunch of shenanigans. He ends up having to call Barney to get the sister-in-law out of the way using his tactics.
No, now, forgive me, I think you're reading... I think that is in part 1 of the season premiere of the season.
Where Barney has to seduce Klaus's sister to get her away from the door so Ted can escape? That's this episode.
Are you... Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, because he can't get into the room originally, so he calls Barney to do a favor. He does his charm and he pulls her into another room so she could pretty much diddle herself.
But ain't all that happening with Robin and trying to get a picture of Marvin?
Yeah, that's another plot of the episode. I'm talking the Ted Victoria stuff.
No, I know that, but okay, maybe I'm wrong.
That is part of this episode where Robin is trying to get the best picture of them, and it ends up being them, the two. Yeah.
No, that is weird. Only in part 1 then.
Sorry.
The birth.
The birth is only part 1. Yeah, part 2 they're already there because
okay. Okay. Okay.
Actually, if I'm thinking about it, actually, Robin trying to get the best picture, I think might be the beginning of season 8.
Yeah. Okay.
Because of the during that stuff, Quinn and Barney show up, tell them they're engaged. Quinn asks them to be the bridesmaids, so that's the beginning of season 8.
Okay. Okay.
Yes, but yeah. So, anyways, they end up running off to the sunset. We meet Klaus, who's for the first time, who's played by Thomas Lennon. Very funny guy. He has a very convincing German accent. And it turns out
Yeah.
he was trying to run away from the wedding too.
Yeah. If I didn't know him on any other stuff, I might have thought he was acting human.
He's really good. Thomas Lennon is a really good actor. He just doesn't get his credit because he's mostly in comedic roles.
Yeah, and he usually plays a side character. Gotta be honest here.
I'd say most of the time, yeah, except for Reno 911.
Okay, I didn't know he was in that.
Oh yeah, he's one of the leads in that.
Okay, gotcha.
But yeah, truth be told, out of all the season finales, this is probably one of the more weaker ones, but it still has some great moments.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Okay, so honorable mention time.
Honorable. Tailgate.
Yep, on mine.
46 minutes.
On mine as well.
And there's nothing pumpkin retuners.
Oof, that wouldn't even make my list. I've got Tailgate, 46 minutes, Disaster Averted, and The Broth.
Oh,
The Broth is the one with the floating head.
No, I don't know in season 8.
Oh no, sorry. The Broth is the one where everyone tries to break up Barney and Quinn. Yeah, where they end up turning the tables on everybody.
That was really funny.
Yeah, that was a good episode. Yeah, I think it's one of the first times we were introduced to like the druid aspect of the bro code.
And then one of the times we see Bonnie and Quinn really fit well together.
Yeah, because they're both psycho.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Okay, I got a feeling we might have the same number one.
Probably. Symphony of
Symphony of Illusion.
Go ahead. You take
Okay.
it.
Let me bring up the IMDb thing. This is Robin's episode through and fucking through.
This might be your best episode in the whole show, in my opinion.
Really? Oh, I'd put it. It's easily top 5, maybe top 3. Actually, I've already written my list. Hold on. Yep, definitely on there. Okay, so that takes place after Robin's liaison. She's still with Kevin and all that shit. Child-hating Robin is dismayed at being pregnant, but is mildly surprised at Barney's reaction when she tells him that he's the father. Beyond how this situation will affect Robin's relationship with Kevin, they both go through a roller coaster of emotions about being potential parents based on encounters with other people. Barney's with his pre-Ted wingman, Insane Dwayne, and Robin's with Lily's gynecologist, Dr. Sonia, who discovers additional news about her situation. Ted, who can tell that something's bothering Robin, tries against her wishes to cheer her up without knowing the entire situation. Meanwhile, Marshall's determined to have the best Christmas light display ever in the tri-state area. He gets a taste of what fatherhood will be like when he gets help putting up the display from neighborhood teen Scott. Now, I was going to touch on that a little bit. So basically, the kid smoozes up to Marshall while he's on the roof, asks if he wants some beers. Sure, son, I'd like a beer. Rips down the ladder, gets the beer, starts drinking, lights up a joint, has a party in the house. Meanwhile, Marshall's stuck on the fucking roof. Good stuff, but that is not what makes this episode great. We start off, it's one of the few times where it's not future Ted narrating, but it's Robin narrating to her children. Come to find out, they're figments of her imagination, because when she goes to see Dr. Sonia, she finds out that she cannot have kids. And this hits her pretty hard, because while she may not have wanted kids, she liked having the option. Now that option's taken away.
Yeah.
So obviously she becomes really depressed, And Ted thinking that she's upset because she can't go home to Canada to go to Canada for Christmas, tries to invite her to Cleveland, but obviously she's like, no, you go, I want to stay here. And they get a little bit of an argument, and he's like, tell me what's wrong. And she's like, it is not your job to cheer me up. Fine. So he leaves. She does her little walk around Central Park. This is where we find out that the kids aren't real because she's sitting on the bench drinking eggnog, which I'm pretty sure might have been spiked with scotch. She comes home. What do we find? What do we find, Ben?
I was waiting for you. We find the fucking apartment lit up in Christmas information.
Yeah, the very first words out of Ted's mouth after she sees this, she's like, yes, it is my. He pretty much says, it is my job. And he says, you know what? You don't have to tell me, but no matter what happens, I will always try to cheer you up. And Robin completely breaks down and cries onto Ted's shoulder. And that's how this episode ends.
Okay. So many emotions in this episode. That moment when you find out about the truth about the kids, that hit haunts me to this day.
I wouldn't say it haunts me every time I see it, but definitely the very first time I saw it. Because I didn't know that she could have kids, because by that point I had fallen behind in the series, so I was catching up, but I didn't know a lot of the stuff, so it definitely hit me the very first time. Still does, but that very first time watching it.
Oof, and then, when Ted did that for Robin at the end, that might be the more romantic thing. Not having to do with romance, and I've seen in any sitcom or show. I can't think of anything else that even comes close to that. How about you?
It's up there, but I don't see it as like romantic or anything like that. I see it as a friend stepping up and saying, you don't have to tell me, but I'm always here for you.
Well, I don't think you do that for a friend. If you do that for a friend, then something contrary you do know. And you find out about that. Yeah,
and which we find out was the case with Ted.
Right. You're like, I don't see that happening with Chandler and Rachel on Friends. If that makes any sense.
Well, it makes perfect sense, and if you're not wrong that friends normally wouldn't do that.
Yeah, I mean, and that's why it was always going to be Ted and Robin. I don't care what anybody says. It was always going to be Ted and Robin.
And a lot of people can't seem to get past that because of the title of the show is about How I Met Your Mother. Right. So everyone's conditioned to being like, he's going to end up with the mother, but it's like, no, the show is telling you he was never going to end up dying with the mother.
Yeah, I mean, now here's a question for you. Remember that fourth episode? I think it was season 4 where Lily trying to find somebody for Ted to end up on the horse with him in the future. Do you think Ted and Robin at the very end, in future, do you think it's Ted and Robin there with Lily and Marshall?
Oh, probably. I mean, as we've seen, as we find out later, there's a bit of future spoilers, but there is the bet between Marshall and Lily. And then Marshall keeps saying, not yet. So I don't think Lily had the faith, but Marshall definitely did.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is a really good episode that I still get some up on.
Yeah, it's easily the best Robin-centric episode.
And I mean, yeah, they went after Kevin, right?
No, this was during.
Really?
Yes, because I can't remember how many episodes later, but they do break up because she tells him he
Wait,
proposes, right?
wait, wait,
He proposes. She says, "I can't have kids." He's like, "That's fine," and they end up.
wait,
He ends up realizing that he would pretty much be settling for something he doesn't want, and they break
okay.
up.
I really have a one. I thought the next episode was the one with Ted Taylor. Ted Taylor woman, he loves him, but it can't be. It has to be after. It
You
has
know
to
what?
be.
It might be this. Is it this episode?
No, it can't be because he hears her after he brings up in camera.
No, they break up because she can't have kids.
Right, but Ted tells her after she brings up in camera. And Kevin and Robin have to break up and then Ted tells her. And then what
That's
goes
right.
on,
Yeah, because he tells her she goes to Russia and then she comes back and moves out.
right.
Yeah. That's right. What Yeah. So yeah, it would be. Oh shit. One like 5 episodes later.
Okay.
Yeah, for the episode "No Pressure,"
Right.
right before Barney meets Quinn.
I knew, like who. She's just funny a little. I like who Kevin ends up with.
Oh yeah, it makes total sense.
Yeah.
And that brings an end to our discussion of season 7 of How I Met Your Mother. Where would you put this season personally? I would honestly, I wouldn't put this at the top. I
No,
wouldn't.
me neither. It's definitely in the lower
Yeah,
half. I,
lower half. Yeah, I'd probably put it mid to low. Yeah,
I think that this year is more like a transition season
yeah,
because season 6 was great and season 8 was great. This there's some great stuff in it, but I feel like we had to have the season to get to it.
yeah. Of course. Yeah, it's basically what in a way you could say it was a filler season.
Right.
Yeah. All right. So what do we have to look at in for season number 8, Ben?
What do we have? We have to look forward to. This is a funny get my
Joe
assistant
Manganiello.
principal.
By Joe Manganiello.
Oh yeah, him coming back.
Yep.
We see somebody else returning.
Yeah. We see the final play.
We see the final play. We see our assistant co-worker that everybody somehow seems to hate for some reason.
Okay. We get one of Barney's girlfriends trying to destroy the playbook.
We we see. We see.
We see time traveling,
We see time traveling.
and it ends in one of my favorite moments of the whole show.
We see a surprising, really great nanny.
Yeah. We see Barney's intense bachelor party.
Right, which one could say could arguably make a spin-off. We have to thank Washington spin-off.
Okay. We also have Lily starting a new career.
Yep. We see another returning person.
Yeah.
We see a couple returning people in the next season.
Yes, we do. And we also get to see a new side of Robin Sparkles.
Yes, we do. And we get to see a subtle, very subtle nod to another show, one from the 80s.
Yes, that is true. So this season is a lot of full surprises. Oh, let's not forget the Jor-El moment.
Oh, wait
That
a
is this
minute.
season. Yeah, I thought it was last season, but it is this season.
We see an 80s movie really, wait, maybe next season, maybe the one after, but any movie comedically being created.
Yeah. Yeah, we get a lot of good stuff in this episode. Yeah,
Symphony.
that's what I meant.
Yeah.
And also probably one of the best titles ever, 12 Horny Women.
We see a new direction from Marshall.
That is correct. Yeah, we do see a new direction from Marshall, which, spoilers, almost ends disastrously.
And a lot more to look forward here in season 8.
Oh, for sure. Definitely. Okay. Oh, yeah. And I do want to forget. I forgot to mention it when we were talking about the episode, but the series finale of the like at the very last thing in the Magician's Code, we see who the bride is flash forward. Forgot to mention that.
Right. Do you want
It's
to
Robin.
spoil it?
Of course. It's in the scene. It's Robin. It's revealed that Barney is marrying Robin.
Right. When we come into play.
Yep. And probably one of the ballsiest fucking proposals I've ever seen. A proposal like that would never happen in real life.
No, and when you put it ahead of Friends season 6.
Yes. No. I wouldn't.
Really?
Yeah, because Friends is the Chandler Monica proposal is more grounded in reality.
Okay. Okay.
Think about all the fucking hoops and Hail Marys Barney had to throw for that. Whereas with Chandler and Monica, like spoilers, we will be covering Friends, and this episode will be high on my all-time favorites list. But that is a conceivable scenario to actually happen.
But okay. Yeah.
And it's just the emotion. If I'm not mistaken, some of that was improv. I might be wrong on that. Don't quote me. But that proposal, some of it might be improv because of the real emotion that came through.
Yeah. You might be right. I have to check on that.
Yeah.
But not later. We're way before that.
Yes, we still got a little while. Okay, so Ben, where can everybody find you?
You can find me right there at Medvedev2 on Twitter. You can find me here on 39 on Shooting a Brief with me and Matt here. Every Friday on this show, every Saturday on Get Shredder Show on the flagship show. Every Sunday on Men Hot Takes. And every Saturday on Mount Schmodown.
Damn right. And you can find me, Ben's pretty much said everywhere on this channel you can find me, but you can also find me over on Schmoes of the North, where Mount Schmodown is living now. You can find me on Schmodown 9 in Canada every week, and you can also find me on Northern Consultations. That one has been a little bit since we've done an episode, so we're due for one soon, hopefully. And also, as it says on the bottom, soda_the_saxophone. Saxman. So, thank you very much, everybody, for watching this, and we will definitely see you next week. And don't forget, everybody, stay sweaty, smash cancer.
That's